My mom used to say when our kids would show up there uninvited, she'd say, just let them come. They're going to outgrow us. And then they're not going to have time for us. And I saw that happen. So I know it'll come.
Sure does. It sure does. It does.
Crank call.
Oh, John Rigsby's with us. Hey, John.
Sir.
Oh, the other John. John Rigsby joined us. I was just yelling his. Yep. All right. Whew.
13 of us, huh?
Oh. Gonna miss those pork chops today.
Yeah. That sounded pretty good.
It does. How's the weather today? How's the weather today, Mac? The weather outside, is it okay?
I haven't spent any time out this morning, but it's warmer than yesterday, sunny.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice.
It's outside.
Yeah, we're down at Nag's Head today.
Oh, are you?
It's warm. It's warm. Yeah, it's I don't know what it's in the, I guess it's in the 50s somewhere, but it's very pleasant. No wind.
How's the water?
Warmer than that here.
I couldn't tell you, John. I don't know.
You haven't been in the water?
No. But we're not too far from it. But just a short walk down to the beach. But it's way cold now.
Got cold last night.
Did it get to freezing?
I think not quite. I think
Okay.
maybe 34, something like that.
Yeah. We got the regional forecast. It's supposed to have frost down here last night. It didn't come anywhere close to being frost last night. They just, it's a guess, not a prediction.
Yeah.
But it's great. Good to get
Hi,
away for a little
everyone.
while.
Good afternoon.
Well,
Oh,
look
hey, there's
there.
Rod.
How are we doing?
Have you got a razor?
Chin.
I lost my razor, John. Oh, yeah.
I'll be glad.
How
What
long's
did
it going?
Let's see. I went on a sailing trip with some friends of mine, and for a week didn't shave. And when I got back, I said, "Well, I think I'm just going to keep this." So it's been maybe 3 weeks now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to get some of that for men only. Color up those gray a little bit there.
I don't know, Tom. I think I've earned every one of these.
Okay.
You worked hard for those, didn't you, Rod?
If not, you will have them for next year.
Well, it's a good thing that my wife is a hairdresser, because she's got all kinds of clips and razors and shavers and stuff like that. So
You must
I'm well
like it
equipped.
then. Do you
I'm
like
well
it?
I don't know if I would go that far, but maybe tolerate
Tolerates
it. Yeah.
Rod, you want to borrow any of these?
Thank you, John. I think I'm good.
I'll be glad for you too.
I appreciate that.
We're just about ready to start, so I'm going to mute you folks, okay?
Gonna mute.
All
Gonna be muted. All right.
think about it.
Good afternoon, Cary Rotary Club. Thank you. Warms my heart to have a welcome like that on a crisp fall afternoon. Mr. Bill Fletcher, can I ask you to lead us, please, in the prayer of the pledge?
Happy to. Let us pray. Mighty God, we give you praise today and we thank you for this beautiful day, this opportunity to come together in fellowship and service. We ask your blessing on this gathering, Lord, that you would guide us and direct us as we seek to provide service above self and serve our community and our fellow man, including women. And we also ask you, Lord, to bless this food, Lord, to our nourishment, and that we may be about your service. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America. We're all chomping at the bit to get back to that scene. Mr. Howard Manning, can I ask you to introduce our guests for today?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Griffin. We have one guest today. We'll carry the Paul. So Paul, will you introduce the guest to us?
Yeah, this is Ken Mason, a friend of mine, actually a neighbor. So welcome.
Welcome, Ken.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, you know what? I bet the next best announcement here is that our friend Renee Spell has an update on the holiday party. So hang on a second, Renee.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Renee.
Hello. Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm remote once again. My grandchildren have called. But anyway, coming soon, December the 7th, we will not have a meeting that day at McGregor. Instead, our Christmas dinner is that night. You've received your evite by now. If you haven't, please shoot me a line. Could be I've got a little mix up there with an email or something, but we're so excited. We'll be back at Prestonwood Country Club in the Oak Room from 6 to 6:45. We will have a social time. I have some entertainment that is currently being finalized for us during that time, and just a good time for us all to begin to welcome the season in together. And I think it'll be fun to be back together. So I've gotten a lot of responses, and if you haven't, please do. And we're just looking really forward to this special time together. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Now's the time. Now's the time. I think Renee's also, where she talked about that entertainment's really cool. She's also working on a service aspect for us to incorporate as part of that event. So I don't want to steal her thunder, but I'll just tease that a little bit for her next announcement. She's letting it out just a little bit at a time. You notice that? Great marketer. Okay, Bill Fletcher, can I call on you to speak about something happening in youth services?
Happy to. As most of you will know, Rotary sponsors an activity called the Rotary Youth Leadership Award. It is intended to be for juniors in high school to participate. It's a day and a half weekend in April of the coming year. And we have agreed to sponsor 4 juniors to participate. At the moment, we know of 2 that are planned to apply. On your table is a brochure about the RILA event. There's an application. If you need more, please let me know. Also, on the college application, there's a place for you to put awards that you have received. This is a reward, an award that you can put on your application, and it makes a difference. People understand what this is. It's a leadership program, and Rotary sponsored it for years. We didn't have it last year. Happy to have it back this year in a slightly modified program. Students will need to be vaccinated before they come, given that we've got vaccination available now for this age group. Other information is in the RILA book. I'd be happy to send it to anyone that needs it. You can contact me through the club or directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. There's a great opportunity for us to support young people in our community. I believe we budgeted for as many as 5 participants to be sponsored from this club. We're allocated 3. So it behooves us to get there early to pick up the extra spots that we budgeted for. So I'm sure we all know of at least one deserving 11th grader that would have a great experience there. So thanks, Bill. Jim Lovejoy, do you want to speak a little bit on this holiday buying season?
Quick announcement. You know, you're all getting ready to do some shopping. On your table is a card for smileamazon.com. When you go through that way, that pipe through Amazon, we will receive a bit of the total purchase. Doesn't cost you nothing. It's easy to do. If you're already doing it, thank you. If you're not, take a card, give it to a friend, give it to a family member, and let's try to get more. It's the easiest fundraiser that we have. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Kind of the opposite of a tax there, huh? When we spend money, someone else gives money to a third party. That's pretty cool. I like that. And consistent with holiday season and our entry there, on the tables, a number of you, thank you, signed up for shifts to ring the bell for the Salvation Army. Again, we'll ring December 8 to 10 and December 20 to 24. Keep your eyes open. There will be an online sign-up genius distributed, but for those of you that are here and want to grab those highly sought after shifts, now's the time. Feel free to do that. And also an opportunity for those of you that signed up last week just to check to make sure that I've accurately captured what you are interested in. And then finally, around Rotary's focus on hunger, I did just want to share with you an update that you recall that our districts last year and in our zone participated in a 10 million meal project, which was actually the second year that the group of districts came together to try to focus on feeding the hungry. And so last year, I wanted to tell you that there were more than 6.5 million meals provided by Rotarians in their activities, some of which were formal and through Rotary, others were very informal. And so once again, this year, we continue to surge towards that goal of 10 million meals. So I guess what I would suggest is that I know that Rotarians are involved in a lot of service projects outside Rotary. So to the extent that you're involved in meal-oriented service, please let me know about that so that we can count that towards our group. Of course, we've got our own chili dinner and other things that we're doing that will help support that goal. But it's a great opportunity to kind of capture the collective efforts of our clubs throughout our zone. So thank you for that. Before we get to our program, miracle moments. Do we have any miracle moments to share today? Mr. Howard Manning.
President Bob, not a miracle moment. I did want to make just a couple of announcements. First, I would think that most of you around here are probably going to Starbucks and have been. So I would like to apologize to you if you have not gotten a mail for our year-end appeal that didn't seem quite right. Our printer imported some new names and addresses into our database, and it put everything off by about one line. For example, I got my sister's letter with my address, and I got somebody else's letter with their age. at my address. So if you get a wrong letter, again, we apologize. One of those technical glitches with the printer, we will be corrected and send it out in that corrected letter and letter of apology. There we go. Okay, so along those same lines, I'd just still like to remind you that our seasonal Thanksgiving is still open on our website. Believe it or not, we are projecting to spend more money in 2021 than we did in 2020 on housing, food insecurity, and other needs that our residents have. So it's still a critical year. We've got table captains, some of them here. If not, you can go online and just give to our seasonal Thanksgiving. Thank you, President Griffin.
Fantastic. Thank you, Harold. That seems like a great fundraising approach, though. Actually, you get an opportunity to give twice. Any other miracle moments? Darren?
Yeah, I just want to say, a miracle moment for me is that the school system is still up and running. It's doing what it's doing. It's had a lot of struggle this year. It's not been COVID as much this year. We've had bus driver situations going on. Today we have food service situations going on. You don't have kids in the building, you may not know that, but lots of buildings today didn't have food service staff. So the schools are trying their best to figure out ways to feed kids, get them to and from school, and ultimately give them education. So if you know an educator, please just give them a pat on the back, tell them thank you.
Amen.
Yeah, everybody's working hard, that's for sure. Anything else? All right, then, without further ado, can I ask Mr. Paul Salzman to come and introduce our special guest? Paul.
Thank you. It's my pleasure today to introduce our mayor, a native of Augusta, Georgia. Harold spent most of his life in Cary. He first came here as a child with his family, and then as an adult while he attended NC State University. Since his marriage in 1987, Harold and his wife Belinda have lived and raised two daughters here in Cary. Then as in now, as mayor, Harold believes the role in local government is to maintain a high quality of life for its citizens by providing critical infrastructure and valuable amenities. So please welcome Harold Weinbrecht.
Thanks, everyone. We're almost ready with the slides. I have perfect time. I'm going to, I think I can do without glasses. That looks pretty big. I do want to thank you for inviting me here. What I plan to do today is give you an update about what's going on in the town. This will be my last update of the year because then I'll start writing next year's State of Cary address. So it'll be interesting to see how you receive this and what kind of questions I get. We're going to start off with the most obvious thing, COVID. We were at a council retreat in March of 2020, and this thing hit us like a ton of bricks. By the time we got home, the governor had entered us into a state of emergency. We had lockdowns, we had shutdowns, lasted for a long time. In May of this year, things looked better. We thought a lot of people were getting vaccinated or going to be vaccinated. The numbers were down. We were excited. I ended Cary's state of emergency in May. And we had a July 4th celebration. Everything looked good. And then Delta came. Delta hit us hard. I had no intention of doing any kind of mandates because I think that's the last resort for me. But when I talked to representatives of hospitals, they said, we're out of ICU beds. We're almost out of ventilators. We have a teenager in here that's dying. I'm begging, please do something. How am I supposed to say no to that? So I put us in a state of emergency on August 18th. And we remained there until about 2 weeks ago when I looked at the numbers. Cary's vaccination rate's about 75%. Our transmission rate's in the 80s, and we're in substantial transmission, but our numbers are steady. Countywide, the numbers are steady, and they've been that way for about 10 days. Personally, I believe this is something we're going to be dealing with for years. We're not going to see the total population get vaccinated, which means we're going to continue to deal with variants. And so like your flu shot, you'll be getting a COVID shot every year. That's my personal belief. I am not a doctor. I don't know. But that's what I fear. And that's where I think we're going as a country with COVID. But right now, the numbers are looking good. And they're saying it's okay to gather with family if everybody's vaccinated. I know my family's vaccinated. And I'm looking forward to seeing my daughter in New York as well as the one on the coast of Eastern North Carolina. So having said all that, Cary budgeted very conservatively during COVID, and we came out very well with COVID because we were so conservative. So Cary did very well in COVID, and as a result, we continue to get recognized as one of the greatest places to live in the United States. We're safe, we're desired, we're a place where millennials want to live. We're one of the best places to work. So a lot of positives are coming out of being in Cary, living in Cary, working in Cary. So what is Cary? Well, we're about 175,000 people. Second largest town in the nation behind Gilbert, Arizona. We can't get them to go to a city. If they would, we'd be the largest. Seventh largest municipality in North Carolina. If we were located in South Carolina, we'd be the largest municipality in the state. We have an area of 60 square miles, which is about 30% larger than Paris, France. We have about 65,000 households. We have a median age of just under 40 years, which makes us one of the oldest, largest municipalities in the state. And why is that happening? Because people like me don't want to leave when we get here. We just stay. And so our population is aging. At the same time, we're seeing a lot of development, which I'm going to talk about later, which is bringing in millennials and the younger population. So we have a real interesting mix. We're a very educated population. About 2/3 of us have college degrees and about 1/4 of us have advanced degrees. And we're a very wealthy town with average medium income of about $105,000. Financially, we're extremely strong. All the bond rating agencies give us their highest rating. And what that means is you debt finance, you get the lowest rating possible. And we do that. Debt financing is good so that if you're building something for the future, the people in the future that are going to use it help pay for it. So that's one of the reasons we do debt financing. We had a budget of about $400 million, including operations and capital, approved this July. Now, as I said, we budgeted conservatively. And so when we got to budget time, we're like, well, we're taking in more money than we need. What do? Give it back. And so we lowered our tax rate to 34.5 cents, which by the way is the lowest in Wayne County, and it's been the lowest in Wayne County for the last 14 years. So I am proud that we have the lowest tax rate with the highest quality of life. We have to increase our utility base, our utility rates, and what that is called rate smoothing. So a few years ago, if you remember, we built the New Hill plant for wastewater that we could have spiked your solid waste fees at that point, or we could have smoothed it out over time. We chose to smooth it out over time. And then we increased our water capacity a couple of 2-3 years ago. And again, that could have spiked your rates or we could have smoothed it. So that's why you see utility rates increase every year at a small rate. We have a rolling budget, which is very interesting. We budget an amount of money so that we can make adjustments every quarter. We're having a quarterly meeting or a mini retreat this week in Pinehurst, and we'll make adjustments to the budget. That way you don't have to do mid-year appropriations. And at the end of the year, if there's money left over, it goes in the general fund. So I think that's a smart way to budget rather than having mid-year appropriations, which are a big political event, makes it difficult to make changes. This just keeps rolling along for us. It allows us to be flexible. Have a lot going on in Cary, 500 basically 500 capital projects going on right now. Some of the major projects, the downtown Cary Park is about a $70 million park. I predict when this park is finished, if you are anywhere in the United States and you Google urban park, it will come up. It'll be that big of a draw. And it's already drawing development around it. If you don't know, the condos across the street were going for $1.2, $1.3 million, which is just insane. But the demand is very high to be around that downtown park and what's going on in downtown. We also have other projects going on. You can see them listed there, but there is a lot going on in Cary, and I'm going to try to hit some of these development projects. During the pandemic, of course, we lost jobs in Cary, just like everybody else did, but we did pretty well. Cary's unemployment rate didn't get any higher than 4.7, and we're now back to 3.1, which is pretty close to fully employed. And the reason for that is our industries in Cary. We have a lot of IT, like me, who just transitioned to working at home. And actually, I found that I like that much better than going to the office. It saves me about an hour commute every day, and I can wear shorts and a t-shirt. That was really cool. And so a lot of companies are trying to figure out now what's the new normal. And I think we're going to see a hybrid. And so anyway, getting back to unemployment and jobs, I think that's why Cary fared so well, because a lot of people could go virtual and keep doing their jobs and actually become more productive. Cary has spent a lot of time and energy focusing on our environment. It's interesting to know we're about 85% built out. So Cary started with 1 square mile and continued to build out over the 150 years of our existence. And now we're reaching our planned borders that we're allowed to go to. And so there's not a lot of open space. So what we're seeing now is a lot of redevelopment. But out of the 85% built out, we have already permanently reserved 30% as open space and parks, which is pretty significant in my mind. And we're very happy about that. But there's a lot of other things we're doing in the environment. We're working on recycling issues with NC State. We have the Solid Waste Consortium. We have purchase of an electric garbage truck. If you think that's cool, well, we have 3 Teslas in our police fleet. That's what I want to get pulled over by. I think that'd be really interesting, but apparently they can upfit those and they're cheaper than a regular car to upfit, and they're just as fast or faster. So very interesting. So we're increasing our electric fleet. We have changes coming to our land use plans and our other ordinances that allow us to be more environmentally friendly. We have, if you haven't been to Good Hope Farm, anybody been to Good Hope Farm? We've been in blueberries. That's an amazing place. We had a dinner out there the other night. And so Cary has this farm, and they lease it out to farmers who can come there, and the farmers take it to restaurants. So you have the farm to fork, or they sell it to others. It's a pretty amazing place. But we have that going on. There's so much going on in our environment, and we're looking for other ways to continue to grow, to protect our environment. We continue to grow as a community. A lot of people think we're growing like crazy. Actually, in the last 14 years, we've averaged about 2% a year. What happens though is all the growth is in one place. So like, for instance, if you live out west 55, all around you is development. And you're going, we must be growing at like 30, 40%. It's just insane out here. But actually it's like 2%. We have increased our single family permits by 25% over last year. And that makes a lot of sense because in the COVID year, things slowed down. A lot of rezoning cases coming. We're getting a lot of multifamily, and I thought that's got to be higher than anybody around us. And actually, we're one of the lowest as far as getting multifamily proposals, which is very interesting. Out of all the developments, we have parks going on, Carpenter Fire Station Road Park and Trevin Parkway Park. So we're not forgetting the infrastructure, and I include parks in our infrastructure as we grow. A lot of big projects. The Fenton is the largest project in Cary's history. It has the second largest loan in Triangle. They have already pre-leased 82% of their retail. And in today's climate, I thought that was fascinating. They have about a million, about a 500,000 of retail and office. They're gonna have about 365 multifamily units. I was there for the topping out ceremony. They look like they're on schedule. Last time I talked with them, they said they're on schedule. So they're gonna open in April of this year with phase 1, and that'll be pretty fantastic. There's not anything around here that looks like that, feels like that right now. Then across the street, we had the mall side. Turnbridge and Associates had the plans to build a mixed-use development, and it was all ready to go. And we had our sportsplex going to be on the site, and that was ready to go. And then Epic's Games said, we want to buy it. And Turnbridge said no. They gave them another amount. We want to buy it. No, we want to buy it. And finally, the public traded company, Turnbridge and Associates, couldn't say no with the offer. So they had to sell it. So now Epic's Games, and we talked with them, we're very excited. They want to work with us. They want to be a community partner with the town, and we're excited about them. They're the #1 gaming company in the world, and they do a lot more than gaming. So if you're interested in what Epic Games does, go to their site and look at all the simulation type things. I'm not technical enough to describe it, but it's a lot of cool things that they're doing. And we're glad that they decided to stay in Cary. They could have gone anywhere else. And we're looking forward to working with them as they grow. So having said that, what happened to the sportsplex? Well, I could tell you what's going to happen with the sportsplex, but I have to kill you if I did that. So I can't tell you where it's going to go, but I can tell you about it. We got $35 million from the county. And the reason we get that money is the hotel meal occupancy tax money is to be a regional draw for tourism. So there will be that component, and there will also be a community center component as well. And so it can have things like e-gaming, which is pretty cool. Epic Games, remember, it's #1 in the world. And I went to their World Cup in Arthur Ashe Stadium, and they filled it up. And you had 14-year-olds winning $2-3 million a piece, which is pretty fascinating. Anyway, we can do it for that. We can have volleyball tournaments, basketball tournaments, entertainment of all kinds, without having a large facility, but having like 4,000 seats, which allow you to do a lot. And we'll have the community center component where it will be flexible enough to have a lot to support all of our citizens, including veterans and seniors. Downtown Park, boy, I'm excited about this. I went on a tour with Congresswoman Ross, was it this week or last week? I can't remember. And we stood in the Walker Apartments and looked down on all the dirt being moved at the park. They are currently building the Bark Bar, so you'll be able to drink beer and watch your dog play. I'm looking forward to that. That structure's almost done. In the middle of that picture, you see the Pavilion, Academy Plaza, all that stuff. A lot of entertainment's going to happen there in the future. And they're just starting that right now. They have dug all the holes for the water. And so it's a lot of dirt and a lot of ugly right now, but it will be beautiful when it's done. And we look forward to that being on schedule and completed in 2023. I mentioned the Walker, which is the development that's going around the parking deck next to the library downtown. They are working on their residential component right now. They're pretty close to being done. It has 153 apartments, and I asked the guy that was managing it, I said, well, what's the interest in those apartments? He said, well, we have 162 on the waiting list. Like, wow. And I can't imagine what the price for renting one of those apartments is going to be, but I imagine it will not be cheap. That is scheduled to be completed next year, and they look like they're on schedule. They're all dried in, and they're drywalled and everything else. They're just final fixtures on most of that. Then across the street from the Walker is the old library site, and people have said, please make that green forever. Don't build on it. Well, the thing is, we're building the park to have the green forever across the street. So we're going to keep the old library site, just like it is until the park is completely done. And then we'll have a big community discussion, what will go on the old library site. But our intention is to have a development there, and it will have to blend in with the downtown. So that is our plan for the old library site, but it will stay green and open until the park is completely done. Then we have a lot of development starting from downtown, going up Chatham Street toward Raleigh. There's a lot of developments. Park Station, Urban Place, Chatham Walk, all those are open or going to be open. Then we have Meridian East, which is coming. I think that's near Hunter Street. And they'll do road infrastructure improvements, water sewer improvements, and have a 220 apartments there with retail, which is pretty interesting. So we're going to have a lot of people living in the downtown area, and that will drive the demand for a lot of retail, a lot of restaurants. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to produce. We also had the Williams House, which was an historic structure, and they moved it and preserved it, added on to the back of it. And my understanding is that they will have a cider brewery. Is that what you call it? I don't know what you would call it. It's not a distillery or brewery, but it's cider instead of beer. And so that would be very interesting. I'm gonna have to go check that out. The center, which is across the street from the Cary Theater, on both ends, they have DeFar's Pizza next to Cedar Street, and then they have Hank's Downtown Dive next to Chatham Street. That had a much needed facelift, and so we're seeing a lot of energy in that center. And then sort of next to that is the Rogers development. So they took the old Rogers Motel and took that down, and actually they saved some pieces of the Rogers Motel, and they're going to use that in the development of the Rogers development, is my understanding. And that will be about 10,000 square feet of retail and 40,000 office. And they'll have the alley next to it where it can be easily closed off for outdoor events, for restaurant events, for that type of thing. And so we see a lot of entertainment coming in that area. And they've already fenced it off, already started moving dirt, so that's happening. And then we have the Jordan project, probably one of the longest projects I can remember, at Harrison and Chatham, has been going on for over 10 years. And that involved three partners, the Baptist Church, the Jordans, and the town of Cary. My understanding is everything is fine, due diligence is done, everything's ready to go, and they should begin early next year with construction. And that will have retail, 190 apartments, and more importantly, a parking deck, which is much needed in downtown. And that's just one of the parking decks that we're planning. Transportation, we're always doing a lot on transportation, 25 miles of resurfacing underway. I got a complaint that from someone that their road was being repaved and there wasn't anything wrong with it. Why are we doing that? Well, first of all, DOT owns all the major roads, and all the neighborhood roads are owned by the town. So what we found out through studies is that being proactive with repaving actually saves a lot of money in the long run. So we go and we measure and take measurements and categorize and prioritize and go through and repave these roads so they never get to the state of cracking potholes, and it saves us a lot of money. So every year we spend money and effort and time doing exactly that. And then there's a lot of other road projects going on, which are pretty significant, and a lot of those will be finished next year. A lot that's going on with recreation as well. We have over 2,500 acres of parks in Cary, which is pretty amazing. The White Oak Greenway Tunnel has had a mural painted on it, and if you haven't been under that, you ought to check that out. Higgins Greenway, which goes by the Cary Cemetery in downtown, that was mostly paid for with federal funds. We're very happy about that. And then we've made the biggest purchase for parks in Cary's history out west on the Ernst Jones Road, and that's over 200 acres of woodlands, fields, creeks. It's the largest park Cary will ever have. We haven't planned anything there yet. So I don't know how much will stay natural, how much will be active, how much will be passive, don't know yet. And then we opened a new disc golf course recently as well. Tennis park, Well, if you know me, I played tennis for about 50 years. So I've been pushing real hard on a lot of these things. So Cary hosts the ACC tournament frequently. We host a professional tournament every year. This past year, we hosted a professional tournament twice. And the UST representative had a long conversation with me and said, if you do these 4 things, you have no limit to what you can draw here in Cary. And so at our last council meeting, we approved court lighting, shade structures, and the design, well, not the design, concept drawing of the clubhouse expansion. And that will allow us to go up another notch. Now, why do we want to do this? Well, all of our venues provide economic benefit. The Wake Med Soccer Park, USA Baseball, the tennis center, last year it was somewhere around 25 million. And the tennis park alone is about 3 to 4 million. And it's our goal to grow all these venues, to make them active and continue to make them active. And so this is very important to me and to the town. Even if you don't like tennis, it's very important for economic development and economic benefit. And so I think these upgrades will be exciting, and I look forward to see what kind of tournaments we can get in the future. At our last council meeting, we also approved a housing update. The biggest concern going on right now, if you look at my email box, is affordable housing. And that's a big component of this. It also includes, how do you include environmental needs and desires in housing? How do you continue to have the highest quality of housing? And how do you move forward with strategies to implement all the visions, including funding? And we will talk a little bit about that at our mini retreat this week. How do you do the funding? Because that's a big component of how do you have affordable housing. And so when Cary creates a plan, it's not something that we do and check a box and put it on a shelf. We do our plans. And if you remember the Cary community plan, and if you watch any council meeting and any proposal, we refer to chapters in the Cary community plan that we're meeting or not meeting. And so when we have a housing update, when you have a housing plan, we're going to use that plan. I guarantee it. And so stay tuned. We're going to see more in housing. I know that there's a lot of, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of affordable housing because I could probably talk an hour on that. But there's a lot of interesting things on affordable housing. I know McGregor is having some boarding house issues, people buying houses and renting out bedrooms for affordable housing. That would be an interesting discussion. Also, people describe affordable housing as anything that costs less. And then there are others describe affordable housing as, I want ownership so that we can build wealth in those that don't have wealth. And so all those come into play. It's a very complex problem that will not be solved overnight, will not be solved by Cary, but we're going to try to do our best to get answers and get solutions. Redistricting. So Cary had a plan to stay out of partisan politics. So we redistricted last June, and we did it based on utility bills that we could do our districts and get pretty close, if not meet it exactly. And we came this close to having it right. But anyway, the legislature says, no, you can't do that. You got to have your elections in March. And so it will be with a partisan primary, which is unfortunate. I fear what happens when you have people voting in a partisan primary that really don't know what's going on in local politics. So if you do care about your local elected officials, please go out and vote to make sure that the people that really care about Cary's local government are elected. We have district open houses going on right now. So if you're in one of these districts that changed, you can go find out more about what's changed in your district. And the option we chose, I think, had the least impact on those that were in a district. So we tried not to move a lot of people. So in summary, 2021 was a tough year. We came out pretty well as far as Cary is concerned. And a lot of that had to do with people taking the pandemic seriously. 75% of us have been vaccinated. And when boosters are available, I encourage all of you to get your boosters. I know I had mine on October 1st. And I have a a pregnant daughter with my first grandchild coming, and I want to be around them and be able to protect them. And so I know everybody has loved ones. Please get vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, please get boosters as soon as you can. And why did we turn out so well? I think we had the courage and backbone to make tough decisions. I know mask mandates was not a fun thing for me. I got hammered every day, day and night, all day for weeks and weeks, and they were nasty. And so that went on and on and on. But we have to have the courage to know that we're doing the right thing. If we're doing the right thing, have the backbone and keep doing the right thing. And I think that's what all the leaders in Cary have been doing. And that's in all our business leaders too. They're doing the right thing, and they have the courage to do that. And they have the belief in everything, in the town, in the staff, in the environment that we live in. And I think that's why we are successful today. And I look forward to what's coming next year. So I hope I didn't go too long. Do we have time for questions?
2 questions.
Yes.
First of all, Mr. Mayor, thank you for being here today. With all the growth that's projected for the downtown area, with the Academy Street, Chatham, I'm just concerned about the parking, and we're not known for our traffic jams so far. And I'm just worried about that happening perhaps downtown and chasing people away.
So parking is a very real issue, and we've been working on it and working on it. Right now, I know that the Jordan project will help with parking. We're also working with the Methodist Church. They want to build an affordable housing project with parking. We're going to partner with them. I think that's going to happen. But yeah, parking is a big deal, and we'll continue to be working on parking. I think one of our biggest challenges with parking in downtown right now is a lot of people don't know where it is. And so we have to do better in telling people where our parking is. But yes, we're going to, that's a top item is parking. If you don't have parking for people in downtown, people are not going to come to downtown. I know on going to downtown Raleigh, depending on the time of day, I'm like, nah, I don't want to go because it's too much trouble to park. So you're exactly right. One more. Yes.
How did you decide who got the Teslas?
I didn't decide that. So a staff member said, guess what? We have a new police car. I'm going to show you. And I went out there and I said, where is it? Right there. And I said, that's a Tesla. And sat in it, then it was upfitted. And she said, we're going to do 2 more part of the pilot program. And I said, I don't like this. That's going to cost too much. And that's when she said, no, it's actually cheaper. And the upfit is cheaper and it will run more efficiently. And okay.
So who's driving them?
Not me.
Very good. Well, we want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. I tell you what, if that was a rough year, we're going to be in really good shape coming up. So that was an incredible presentation. Thank you for that. Jerry Miller is a resident artist. He's inaugural in the Cary Rotary. He has created this for you. We'd like to give this to you. There's some pictures from around town. There will be a quiz, so I'll call your office tomorrow. You can tell me which one of these you know. But thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate it, and obviously take these as a thank you.
Mayor Weinbrecht, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing. It's a pretty inspiring message, as Darren says. Be included in the best of class towns and cities from around the world is really pretty impressive. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't thank you personally for your leadership over 2 decades in helping to determine how we achieve what we've achieved to this point, and your continued leadership into the future. So thank you very much. And we're thrilled that you took the time to join us today. Ken, I also want to thank you for joining us. There he is, Ken Mason. Thank you very much for joining us today. Hope you had a great visit. Would love to talk to you some more about what we do and how we work as a club. And I know that Paul will certainly keep his voice in your ear about the great things the Cary Rotary Club is doing. As we close, I want to recognize Ross Berry is having a birthday on November 16th. I guess that's Saturday. Paul Sossman. Paul is all over our anniversaries and special days. He's celebrating a birthday on the 18th, which I guess is Monday. Happy birthday, Paul. and Ken Time on the 22nd. So happy birthday to you, Ken. We want to recognize, I know Bill Ziddick's online. His wife Mariel is also having a birthday on the 21st. Ken and Patty Time, an anniversary on November 21st. I'm interested to hear the story about how the wedding day happened the day before the birthday and what all that means in the household going forward. And also Dawn and June Finkbeiner will celebrate an anniversary on the 22nd as well. So congratulations to all of them. Next week, our program is Jim Kilpatrick of Flying Bandits, a great program. Pat Hudson, thanks for managing that. Our meal will be salmon with mixed greens, onion, tomato, and a dill dressing. And in 2 weeks, no gravy. No gravy. In 2 weeks, George Jordan's helped arrange Dean Buckless of the Poole College of Management over at NC State to come and give us a talk. So we're very definitely looking forward to that. So again, thank you everyone for your time this afternoon and your contributions to our community. As we head out, can I ask Kristen Sutton to please lead us in the four-way test?
Where's the sign-up sheet? Sign-up sheet.
Hang on just a moment, Kristen.
First things first.
Got it. So Kristen, can you lead us out?
Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you all.
John, you still on?
Me or
Yeah,
Patrick?
either one.
Yeah.
That's quite a presentation.
You know, it was, and you know, I have to think how far. Let me say this the right way. Harold, how well he's kind of adapted.
He really has.
I mean, as you well recall, I don't want to. I'm looking kind of grubby today. I'm just a sweatshirt.
No,
I got to get out of here in a couple of minutes anyway. I got to go get dressed to go to a meeting. But I mean, you know, when Harold first came on the scene, you know, he was kind of the antithesis of everything he's talked about today.
Yeah, exactly.
And that may be a bit of a mischaracterization because the focus was so heavily on the residential growth and you know, I mean, I think as much as you and the rest of the council had tried your darndest to and did accomplish a huge amount in the commercial growth area, you know, it just kind of wasn't, the ratio just wasn't really, I guess, keeping up, you know, the commercial with the residential side, I guess, or at least that seemed to be the complaint. And
yeah.
It's sort of interesting. He rode that into power or rode that onto the council and then, you know, left the council. You know, he rode that out for 4 years and then rode back in, but now he's really moved, I think, to the middle, you know, on this. And
He really is. Yeah.
I'm happy about that, you know.
I am too.
You know, sitting there thinking, well, he served currently, I guess, as long as Coca has served. And I think I'm right on that, or maybe when he finishes, it'll be as long as Coca served. And, you know, I mean, you got to think about his Uncle Fred and what he brought and then what Coke brought. And I don't know anybody prior to Fred, so I couldn't speak to it, but, you know.
Yeah, me too.
But hang on, I got to text my wife something here real quick. So, but you know, wow. I mean, what what a place, you know. So
It's almost unbelievable looking at what's going to happen in the next 3, 4, 5 years. It'll be completely different than what we've grown up with. But
yeah, it really is. And it's all quality too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's not junk. Interesting. I think he might have got a little ahead of himself on that parking thing with First Methodist. I don't know how much you know about that issue, but
not much in it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, since I am for the moment still a member there, who knows when that might change. But that's not a well-known item outside of our church. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not the public at large really knows that issue. But this company, Downtown Housing Inc. or DHIC, they focus on affordable. I'm not going to say low income because that's completely not what it is, but affordable housing issues. And so what they want to do is they want to take our parking lot and capture about, I would say, 2/3, maybe as much as 75% of it. And we would lease it to the town, and then we take that flat surface parking lot that currently gives us about 170 some parking spaces. And we would lease it to the town on a long-term lease. DHIC, in concert with the town, would come in and construct a 4-story parking deck. And they would wrap it on the Walker Street side with 4, I think 3 or 4 levels of apartments. It would be about 40, I want to say 44 apartments in there, housing 2, maybe, I think they're targeted for either 2 occupants or maybe 3 in some cases. This is not the hood. I mean, these are what we've been trying to get in Cary for decades. You know, teachers and firemen and policemen and service industry workers and so it's a quote affordable housing. And inside the parking deck, the number of spaces, I mean, we would triple the number. Well, maybe not triple, but we would about 2.5 times the number of total spaces available for the church to use. Now we got to share that with the town, but guess what? We have to share it now. Most people don't realize that. I can't remember if you were still on council or not, but that existing lot was done, you know, by permission with the town that it would be, we would own it. We could build it, we'd own it, we'd pay for it, but we had to make it available for public parking. And so, so he made the statement that FUMC Cary wants to do that. Well, truth is, there's a pretty significant quiet debate going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's just put it like that. There's a lot of opposition by people that you know well. So, and I won't name them, but
no, I know the ones.
You probably know them. So,
yeah.
So,
well, it's exciting. It's got all new things coming up, and I go with it, I guess.
Yeah,
we'll be here.
You know, Tom, it's so funny. I ride through downtown, you know, in the evening or something. I don't do much, you know, but once in a while coming through there and you just look at all the people and say, who are these people and where did they come from?
That I noticed that lot that Gherkin's little station there on the corner.
Yeah.
Academy and
yeah, I know
Adam. That's already been sold for about $1 million, less than an acre.
I think I heard a few weeks ago that property was going to become available.
They're trying to buy the fire station too.
Yeah. Well, one thing he said was on the old library site, does the town own that site?
Town owns the site. Yep.
I thought the same investor group that bought the Mayton went in and bought and somehow acquired that site. But I must be mistaken about that.
I think,
obviously I'm mistaken about that.
well, I thought we had the site because we encouraged the library system to build the building there. And I thought we owned the building, the site, but
No, and I obviously I'm mistaken about that. I somewhere along the line thought I had been informed that same assessment group acquired that.
things changed so much.
Maybe they got the property behind it or something.
Yeah, could be.
About that. So
well, we'll just have to live through it, John. Live through it.
It's all gonna be good stuff. It's all gonna be good stuff.
Good.
I did see. I did see yesterday. I think the old what do they call it? Breeze Bullard House there on the corner.
Yeah.
Kildare and Walnut, I think, came crashing down yesterday.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Well, have a good afternoon, and
I got to
see you next week.
All right. I hope so. See you soon. Bye.
Okay. Thanks.